Hey guys, it's Core Ross and welcome to 6 News. Today we are looking at two major changes in Rainbow Six Siege which are coming with the Crystal Guard season, and that is that we are going to have rim lighting around our prayers. But the first change I want to go over is one that's going to kind of dramatically change gameplay, but is an extremely simple change, and that is if you're looking at this gameplay right now where I down this rook, well, you might notice there's something missing. And that is the Injure notification that would normally appear on screen. And this has a really big impact on gameplay. There was like one game of Border I was on where I threw a grenade into a room where I knew a bad guy was, but I didn't kill him, and I thought, I was sure he was in there, so I droned out again, and there he was, injured on the floor, so I was able to easily kill him. And it really does change the gameplay, and especially for one operator in particular, and that is Frost, as Frost no longer gets a notification letting her know that she has injured an operator in her frost traps. This is okay if Frost is relatively close to her traps and able to hear it, but if you're further away you might have no idea that someone is actually in your traps. Now I expect this is going to be a controversial change because I like it, I think it makes the game more difficult and I'm totally up for that, so I kind of like it, but I think a lot of people will be very annoyed at it. It really does change gunfights as well, where you might have no clue that you've actually just injured someone whatsoever, whereas you would maybe normally just push right in if you got a notification. But anyway, let's move on to the main content of this video, and that is the rim lighting. This is a lighting that basically just adds a highlight to enemy operators so that pay to win skins no longer work, and you'll be able to see people that are trying to hide. This is also a setting that you can switch off for yourself, so if you find that it is annoying to you, you can just switch off, which is a good addition to the settings. But for me, I'm definitely keeping it on. It is a major tactical advantage. However, it does have a few flaws here and there, and some surprises, so let's break down rim lighting. So I've done some editing magic here to show two Blackbeards on the screen at one time with rim lighting off and on, so you get a good idea of what this kind of look like in general gameplay and how that rim lighting really does highlight the operator surprisingly well and definitely makes them far more visible. However, that is not always the case. So this example here we have two mutes, and you might be thinking the one on the left has rim lighting off, but actually both of them have rim lighting on. What is going on here is if the operator is in bright light, the rim lighting is pretty much non-existent, whereas the mute that's in the darkness is pretty much glowing like a light stick here. Another example of this is Nomad here actually hiding in the bushes on Coastline, and she blends in pretty well. It's almost impossible to see any rim lighting on her even though it is on, and it's just because she's in a brighter location on the map. However, this flaw in the system I think is relatively minimal, and there might be a few exploit locations that you can use, but they're going to be few and far between. Now let's move on to this example in Villa with twin nomads. Now I only have, of course, the cosmetic unlocked in the test server, so that means not many at all to actually play around with, but this is a good example I think of how Nomad's legs are very much blended into the background, and the shape of her body is definitely being diffused by that camouflage on her legs. However, in the rim lighting version, you can clearly see the entire outline of the operator. It's not too over the top or anything, but it means that you know that is Nomad, and you're not going to have to second guess, which of course in that millisecond of second guessing you might die. So I think this is a very good example of it working very, very well. But let's move on to a range of tests to show what it looks like in different environments. So for this instance, we've got two nukes standing outside. One of them has it on, one of them has it off. You probably can't tell which is which, even at 200% zoom here. And here's Nuke trying to hide in a dark corner. This shows how much the darkness ends up highlighting you. So I think we're going to end up with people actually hiding in bright lights rather than darkness in the future. And then here's Nuke running through a corridor which has varying lighting. The first run is with rim lighting on and the second run with it off. And you can see how it does vary depending on the lighting in the environment. But now I'm going to try and actually hide in bright light. So on Border there's a couple of torchlights that actually are on the ground. So I set up some barbed wire and laid inside it. And as you can see, Ella actually does blend in pretty well. The rim lighting is almost completely gone, and the barbed wire of course helps to break up our body a little bit too. But the headgear I've got in the test server here isn't good enough for it. If I had a different headgear, I think this would work quite well. Is it a good hiding place though in an actual game? Well, probably not. However, moving into the corner, even though this room is still quite bright, the rim lighting doesn't have much of an effect, and this one actually looks like a hiding place that could work in a normal game. And I would say the rim lighting here is having pretty much no effect. Then we've got this example on Clubhouse, and as you can see, my Ella is pretty much glowing in the dark and is easy to see, and that barbed wire isn't even helping anything. The rim lighting is just showing me up completely. But if we reposition and actually put myself in the light, she does get a little bit harder to see. Again, not an actual good hiding place, but it kind of shows how the lighting of the map really affects the rim lighting, and I think they'll have to probably tune that a little bit in the future, is my feeling anyway. And then next, we've actually got an example of something that I think is surprising and super good, and that is these 3 individuals you can see here with the rim lighting on are not actually players, they're alibi holograms. And the fact that the alibi holograms now have the rim lighting is awesome. And I think when you first get this update and you're playing it and the rim lighting's on, you're going to be shooting quite a lot of holograms, because you're going to very quickly get into the habit of shooting anything that is shiny in the game. And when you see one of these holograms for the first time at range, you're probably going to shoot it, because they really do stand out. But I think players will quickly get over that, and it won't be like a huge advantage or anything like that. But certainly it is a cool little feature that they added in for the alibi holograms, which I did not think they would actually do. So very cool. But that's it, guys. That's the basics you need to know of rim lighting and testing it in different scenarios. I think that it's definitely worth having on. I think it seems to work very good. They maybe can tweak it in some ways, but right now I think this solves a lot of the issues of just having the right cosmetic to win a battle, which shouldn't be the case. Although I would like a default cosmetic option that you can switch on, so just everybody looks how they default look, which would also be good. But yeah, this is good. I think, like I say, maybe a few iterations to go before it's totally perfect, but right now I'm very, very happy with it, and way better than I expected it to be as well. Anyway, guys, let me know what you think of the injury notification being taken away, which I think makes the game more difficult, and the addition of the rim lighting, which I think makes the game easier. And I actually think that both changes are very good. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for watching. I'll catch you next time.